and spent about 17 and a half in higher education at other institutions. And then I've also worked in healthcare and in sales. And I've never worked for a more passionate group. And that goes for all of you working. But when I think about the three individuals that are going to be stepping away from the college, it's hard for me to imagine a college without them. It just is. And I will tell you, each one of you, that you have made my job as a development person so much easier. When I go out to talk to somebody and we're trying to separate them from their wallet, as we say internally, a lot of times it's a hard issue, especially when you're talking about a Christian institution. And when you can give specific examples of giving out your cell phone number, you know, staying long hours. I mean, when my office was over with some of you all, I got to experience that and see, and I just thought, man, I've never seen this before. And I don't know for a fact, but I almost guarantee you it doesn't happen in most state institutions. I don't think, I'm sure they're great professors and they love what they do, but this place is just different. And so when I go out and have to solicit for money, and I'm sitting down with Charles Fields or Terry Coons, those are the types of things that we talk about, and those are the types of things that appeal to people to the point that they're willing to say, I want to make an investment in what you all are doing. And it's what's allowing this building to be built. So I hope that when you all come back on campus, that you'll look at that building and know that you are still a part of it, even though you've left. Because you've made such an impact with us in this room and with the students and with the donors. And you will not know, and you'll probably never know the impact that you've had with donors because we've been able to share what you all have done. So we'll miss you. Please come back and visit us, and hopefully we'll see you soon. Thank you.
Wow, I can't believe I've been here 5 years. It just seems like yesterday I took that interview, and wow. I remember I met with, I think, all three of you that day. Hard to believe it's 5 years later, and what really struck me was at that time at Vanderbilt, I kind of adopted the XC teaching model. And it really puts a lot of emphasis on two things. One is intellectual excitement, doing things that are going to excite your students, hook your students, get them in. And the other one that's really focused on in that teaching model was just interpersonal rapport, the relationships that you have with students. And I remember being at Vanderbilt where I had a research program and research expectations that were pretty heavy, and teaching expectations where, you know, you had to teach well, but you never had the opportunity to really develop relationships with students. And that's one of the biggest things that we put so much effort into is how we interact with students and how we interact with each other, and how we reflect who God is to our students in our day-to-day work. And I remember that interview when I sat down and I talked with all of you. You know, it just felt right. It just really felt like the right thing to do with my career at that point, the right place to be. Man, was I ever right. I was really, really right with that decision. John, you know, thank you for all of the hard work that you've done in managing the department with 2 people for such a long time. I know that was incredibly difficult, and you know, and I'm glad that we have gotten things into a lot better shape with that. And you know, what's incredible to me is you brought so much excitement into high school students, you know, day-to-day lives through the BEST program. And I know what kind of time investment it takes to whole college, but especially you. I'm really, really grateful that you did that. It was a great chance to build relationships across the college and with other teachers. And you know, I know we've had some students come through who got hooked with that, and I really appreciate all of the intellectual excitement that you brought to the whole college with that. Carrie, you know, I was 3 years into teaching. I was 3 years into teaching. I was just beginning to get my feet wet, but I was at the point where I needed good professional role models, good people to be around with. And I think in seeing how you interact with the students, how you walk along with students as a guy on the side, as much as a sage on stage, I think I really learned a lot about how to do my job a lot better. How to do a better job of interacting with students, you know, we can joke around about sports and stuff on gator hats and things like that, but you know, at the end of the day, you're the last guy I think of as somebody who needs sensitivity training. I really mean that. I'm glad that you have put such an interpersonal dimension into teaching, and I hope we'll always hire, when we hire new faculty, we'll always hire people that are kind of cut from your cloth, that really value a mentoring relationship, and who also value service, because a lot of the projects that you've brought to the table have just been wonderfully exciting. I know some of our students didn't really know what they wanted to do with their life until they went on a mission project, and you know, had some really incredible things happen when they built that first bridge with our first senior design project. I'm really thankful that you're going to stick around and be with us in that role. So thank you for everything you've done. I'm glad you're still going to be around a lot on campus in a new role, and one that's really going to leverage the talents and the things that you bring to the table. Well, Joe, I knew about you when I was interviewing. My mom actually knew quite a bit about you as well. She was a civil engineering student at Auburn, and Joe was a young professor there. And apparently she did pretty well in the class. So I think she was happy to know that I was going to end up working for you. Wow, 5 years later, we have a ABET visit with no deficiencies, no weaknesses, no concerns, and I can't think of very many folks who could pull that off with the resources that we've had to work with. You've been a wonderful colleague in standing up for us and standing up for what we need, helping us get a good department together, and you're going to be sorely missed, very, very sorely missed. I am excited about the future that we have as a college. Very, very excited about that, and I don't think any of this would be possible to have that kind of excitement about the future direction of our college without three really excellent people, and Ford, of course, you too. But you know, without these three guys that are retiring, I don't know how much I'd be excited about the future had you guys not really done a wonderful job of laying a great foundation. So thanks for all you've done.
Y'all are laying on really thick. If my nose feel better, I would be really impressed. But I told a few people I was preparing my speech today. I don't think they believe me, but I did. I have written something very special for this occasion. It's entitled Retiring Relics. We are here to celebrate at the Richland Country Club, though I know you're used to a more conservative hub. A red carpet celebration is held in your honor. With retirement for you, all will be calmer. I assure you the College of Engineering will not be the same without the three of you, whom I will mention by name. Joe Morgan came to us from Auburn U on a dare. and became the illustrious civil engineering chair. For Lipscomb, Joe got this program up and running. Where would we be without Joe? Boy, is he cunning. A better guru and an expert in his field. Because of Joe's know-how, great results did he yield. He knew all the rules regarding ABET. We appreciate you, Joe. You've been our safety net. This tall, distinguished man has proven himself. CE is here now, practically running himself. The next honoree is Patterson by name. And if you don't know him, it's really a shame. Carrie Patterson is one of the students' best favorites. That's everything nice I can say, so you better savor it. When I first met Carrie, I was not quite sure how to act. He seemed grumpy and surly, and that is a fact. After a time, I understood what the students all saw. I must confess, I am now much in awe. He is like our own Yoda, a Jedi master of sorts, in stature, in wisdom, with big ears, but no warts. Truly, Carrie serves others well with his kind heart. His students, co-workers, and friends know this part. The future for the Peugeot Center looks bright. Carrie will lead by example, and it will take flight. Last but not least on our list is Professor John Pettit. If you don't know Pettit, you just might not get it. As the new admin, the first faculty meeting I attended, John intimidated me, and he thought it was splendid. With his steely stare, my confidence waned. Was this one engineer I might not contain? I have since learned better. John's not a serious sort. He likes to joke around. To him, it's a sport. Many of us like to have fun and give John a hard time. He is extremely frugal and makes the most of each dime. We know him to be cheap, brown bagging it daily. While others go out, he weighs them off gaily. Sardines and crackers, Thai food laced with cumin. Some days, I'm not certain, John may not be human. But when he bought the beach house, he heard not one peep. We learned our lesson too late. It's best to be cheap. Daily he arrives each morning at 9. Outside his office is almost always a line. You would think that his office was a fine place to dine, but Pettit is generous. He always gives the students time. You three professors are quite special. You gave up on fame, but thanks to 3 dedicated persons, you gave us a good name. Come visit us often and watch how we grow. You're a huge part of the reason we make a good show. This verse has been silly and serious in spots. Please know I will miss each of you lots and lots. Now y'all know what I did at work today.
That will be a hard act to follow. After I had started Lipscomb for a few weeks, the boss asked me one night, what's everybody's like? And I remember I told her, I said, well, Ford and Carrie are kind of interesting. It's like an old married couple. I think you may have seen a little bit of that tonight. But I will say Carrie. And I said at the senior design review projects this week, and the thought came back to my mind. It is remarkable to see the respect and the appreciation the students have for their interaction with Carrie. It comes through every time you're around with them. Carrie truly will miss that. And in gatherings like this, John has always been so entertaining. They're fun to be with. They make these things pretty light for us. So if you haven't had that experience, be around. It's been a lot of fun. And Joe, 5 years ago, didn't know you. Now, some of you may not know this, but Joe's dad did preaching some years ago, 1950s, in rural Montgomery County. That was not an uncommon thing, because we don't need preachers to go around. And where Dolores went to church, Dad would come and preach sometimes on Sunday. And so Dolores knew Joe's dad way before we ever knew Joe. And so kind of unique how your paths crossed again over time. But Joe, I've enjoyed working with you. You've been very easy to work with, added a lot to the department, and I would particularly appreciate the conversations we've had with Joe, even before me over common experiences we're having in that process, and I've appreciated it and enjoyed your wisdom and your insight.
So when I interviewed, I wasn't sure kind of what I was getting into. I prayed that God would make it clear if I was supposed to be here. And that weekend, God kind of ran up the score on me. I met all of you guys. I met Joe and Carrie and John specifically tonight. Talk about them, and got to see kind of what I was looking for, what I wanted to be as a teacher, what I wanted to be as a professor. And it's really been wonderful to me. Specifically because of where I work, my work location, and the chair of my department. I've seen a lot of John and Carrie. From Carrie, I learned maybe the most important thing, how to sternly yell at students that interrupt class or that do something they shouldn't. I'm still working on it. I can't quite pull it off like he does. But the first week or so, I was really kind of taken aback. And then I realized that Carrie wasn't serious when he was yelling across the office, which sounded angry, but that he was having a good time with that. So the one thing that I would note with that is, Carrie comments frequently about that I have a line outside my office a lot of times, and I hope that's because my students know that I do care a lot about them and I want them to do well, but I've learned that from professors like you. And Carrie, I'll occasionally complain a little bit about the long line and having to continually work with them, and Carrie will say, yeah, but you love them. And he says that because he knows, and John knows that too. It has the same line. I'm not ever going to give out my cell phone number or my wife's cell phone number. But I've seen John move heaven and earth to help a student out. And I've seen Carrie interact with students, some who didn't make it through engineering, but who still see Carrie as a mentor and still come back and talk to her. And I'm very grateful for all you guys. I'm grateful for what you've set in motion and how wonderful a place this is to work because of you and what you've set in front of us. So thanks.
saying goodbye to the Tin Man and the Scarecrow and the Cowardly Lion, and I thought, well, none of these guys like Cruise, and none of them have brains. And what was the other one? Heart, and none of them lacked heart, so that didn't go anywhere. So instead, I had this idea about the song.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I'm going to need this.
Yeah. How far up do I need to hold it?
That's probably good, right? Vicki gave you guys copies of what this is, so you can be sure to hear it, and, I mean, see it if you can't hear it. But it says how, yeah, let's spend the whole sabbatical writing this.
He's really not playing.
You want to start us down?
Gathered here tonight to say goodbye to our friends. We're trying to be nice so we don't look thin. But not too nice, 'cause you better believe we wanna make sure that they really do leave. Oh yeah! It was 14 years ago, Fred hired John. The school was a-growing, there was lots going on. Department when it needed a star.
I think they hired John because he drove such a good car.
Yeah. Phoebe. McCary joined the faculty very next year. A thermal fluids expert and a crack engineer. And when it comes to students, he goes to the mat. Unless you love the Gators, then he'll stomp on your hat. Last but not least, let's not forget Joe. We needed a chair to make CE grow. We hoped Tuscaloosa would send us a man. Since we had to settle for an Auburn fan. Roll Tide! All kids aside, we simply insist that after you're gone, you're gonna be missed. Love and dedication will inspire us on. Your legacy remains long after you're gone.
Last call. I am so glad that everybody could come tonight. I mean, we're missing very few. There were very legitimate reasons for the ones that weren't able to come tonight. You guys are so special to all of us, and I'm not going to go on because I know I will cry. I'm probably just going to look tired, but please, if you all have not had a chance to sign the guest books and write a little message to whichever one of these guys you like, write a message, because I know the wives weren't able to be with us on Monday when we celebrated with the campus-wide. I know the spouses of the honorees were, but the rest of us were missing. Sign the books. There's a gift for each of you, all from the College of Engineering, that's behind the book that belongs to you, so you'll be able to take your gift, your book, and your picture, except for John Pettit, because theirs got dropped. It's just due. Oh! Now we hear from Joe. Forgot to give you guys a chance. I was like,
First of all, I want to just thank everybody for the kind words you've said. I really appreciated them. Some of you know this, some of you don't. I've never really had much of a plan for my life. It's just whatever happened, happened. And it's so far, it's all been good. And certainly the part of Lipscomb has been really good. Greg could tell you that it wasn't always that way, because one day we were in Craig's office and I told Greg that I wish that at the end of my interview I'd just run back to Auburn as fast as I could go. He didn't fire me. I thanked him for that at the reception. But since then, it turned around, I really enjoyed it. So I wanted to say that, but I do have some prepared remarks that I just want to say, and I'm getting old, and so I have them on paper. Otherwise, just because of my experience at Lipscomb, it's a 75-minute deal. But if I keep my eyes on the paper part of the time, then we'll be able to do this pretty quickly. One of the things that Rita and I really especially like to do is eat. And although she's an excellent cook, we eat out quite often. We especially like eating breakfast at a number of places around town that we really like. And it just so happens that this last St. Patrick's Day, we were at one of our very favorite places, Nashville, over in Green Hills. When the hostess seated us, she remarked that Amy Grant and Vince Gill had just gotten up from our booth. And, you know, now, as you know, that sort of thing in and of itself is not all that unusual around Nashville. And we've seen Vince in there eating breakfast before. But this time, as we sit there, I felt a wave. Well, I really don't know how to describe it other than to just say what it was. It was creative genius came over me. And I was inspired to write a song. It's not about the other two retirees. It's about me and Greg and Justin. And I call it a song about me and Greg and Justin. Tonight, it's going to be performed in a manner of speaking in public for the very first time ever. Most of you won't understand the deeper meaning or even the superficial meaning of most of the song because it's written on an intellectual level and it embodies musical and emotional artistry and intensity that I dare say heretofore has been unknown in relation to Lipscomb University in general, and certainly the Raymond B. Jones College of Engineering in particular. Now, furthermore, though, to mitigate the unknown and very possibly calamitous effects of me actually singing the song a cappella, I'll present it in the form of a lyric poem, ode, rather than as a song per se. Nevertheless, I think it might help you to imagine or envision a band, maybe a couple of guitars, a ukulele, a tuba, up here with me, behind me, playing what for most of you is probably a fairly familiar tune. Because this semi-autobiographical composition that you're about to hear was originally written to be sung to the tune of a classic work authored by Jenni Jones, which first appeared in June of 1948 when I was not quite 5 years old. That song is variously known as Ghost Riders in the Sky, Riders in the Sky, a Cowboy Legend, perhaps by some other names as well. It's considered by many to be among the top 100 Western songs of all time. It's been recorded commercially many, many times by a very diverse group of artists, including Burl Ives and Vaughn Monroe, the Norman Luboff Choir, Bing Crosby, Peggy Lee, the Sons of the Pioneers, Elvis Presley, Johnny Cash, the Blues Brothers, and Judy Collins. And there are also recordings of it in at least 10 languages. So just imagine that tune. As I read to you a song about me and Greg and Justin. But before I begin, my sincere apologies to all of the aforementioned. And of course, it goes without saying, I think, that unauthorized video or audio of this